Paranormal Atlas, Most Haunted Places in Tennessee. Paleo-Indians are believed to have settled in Tennessee nearly 12,000 years ago. The first recorded European excursions into what is now called Tennessee were led by Spanish explorer Hernando de Soto in 1540. The first British settlement was built in 1756. Tennessee became a state on June 1, 1796, becoming the 16th state. With all this history, it should come as no surprise that Tennessee has some very haunted locations. Nashville, the Tennessee State Prison. The Tennessee State Prison was operational from 1898 until 1992. Over the almost 100 years it was in operation, it gained notoriety thanks to riots and overcrowding. This site was used to film movies such as The Green Mile and Ernest Goes to Jail. Today it is abandoned, but many would argue it's certainly not unoccupied. There are several reports of cell doors closing on their own, footsteps, and even boot prints in dust where no living person has walked. I would love to do an investigation here, but unfortunately it's not open to the public. Gald, Hales Bar Marina and Resort. Hales Bar Marina and Resort, also known as the Hales Bar Dam, was built along the Tennessee River in 1905. According to legend, the local Native American tribes were not happy with its construction, and supposedly put a curse on the dam. Visitors and staff have reported a variety of paranormal activity, which includes Native American chanting and the sound of drums. Even the apparition of a little girl in a pink dress has been spotted from time to time. It is said that she drowned here, and her remains are still trapped in the dam. Our group investigated here a couple years ago, and we without a doubt believe this place to be haunted. I'll leave a link to our investigation in the description below. Franklin, the Carnton Plantation. Just off the front porch of the Carnton Plantation is a graveyard, where roughly 1,700 Confederate troops were buried. Soon after this mass burial, the mansion was transformed into a hospital. With all this bloodshed, it should come as no surprise that the Carnton Plantation is said to be haunted. The ghosts of Confederate soldiers are seen roaming around the mansion and its grounds. However, these are not the only spirits said to haunt the mansion. Along with all the soldiers, it is believed that the Carnton children are also haunting their former home. Memphis, the Orpheum Theater. In 1890, the Grand Opera House opened on the very spot the Orpheum Theater is today. In 1923, a fire started, and the theater burned to the ground. 5 years later, in 1928, the Orpheum Theater opened in its place. The spirit of a little girl named Mary is said to haunt the Orpheum Theater today. Some say she died in the fire, and others say she died in some kind of accident on a nearby street. She is often seen in her favorite seat, C5, and sometimes she is heard giggling or running up and down the aisles. Adams, the Bell Witch Cave. There's honestly probably not a more notorious haunting in Tennessee, or maybe even America, than the Bell Witch of Adams, Tennessee. It is one of the oldest and best known hauntings in the country. The Bell Witch Cave is another story. The cave that is open to the public for tourists today was technically on the original property of the Bell family, but it's nowhere near where the actual Bell house stood, and the activity associated with the Bell Witch took place. The place where the house stood is not open to the public. The cave does have an Indian burial ground nearby. But if the cave is haunted, I think that's what it is, and not the entity that haunted the Bell family in the early 1800s. I've been to the Bell Witch Cave and wasn't very impressed. I think it would be a much better experience if someone else ran the property. Don't take my word for it, read the reviews yourself. They're pretty harsh. Murfreesboro, the Stones River National Battlefield. The Battle of Stones River was a Civil War battle fought from December 31st, 1862 to January 2nd, 1863 in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Almost 25,000 men lost their lives here during this three-day battle. The Stones River National Battlefield includes the Stones River National Cemetery and stop number 4, the Slaughter Pen, where Union General Phil Sheridan did his best to hold back the Confederates in a heavy forest. Today the battlefield is said to be haunted by several soldiers that died there all those years before. Reenactors have claimed to have seen ghostly soldiers standing in the shadows or leaning against a tree during their reenactments. Rangers have also reported footsteps following them after dark in the battlefield. Nashville, the Hermitage. One of the best known hauntings in Tennessee is said to be at the home of the 7th President of the United States, Andrew Jackson. Now a National Historic Landmark and Museum, the Hermitage and its many buildings spreading over 1,000+ acres are said to be haunted. Everything from apparitions of slaves across the property to the loud bangs of pots and pans coming from the kitchen have been witnessed at the property. Nashville, the Tennessee State Capitol Building. The State Capitol Building of Nashville, Tennessee, is said to be haunted. It is reportedly haunted by William Strickland, the architect, and Samuel Morgan, the man in charge of financing. William Strickland and Samuel Morgan were said to argue on a regular basis over the cost and time frame of the building of the Capitol building. Strickland died in 1845 before the building was complete. The state built a vault for his body, and eventually when Morgan died, he was interned there as well. Some think the arguments between the two men continue to this day. It is said that many times over the years that police officers have been called to the Capitol in response to loud, angry arguments said to be heard going on inside the building. When the officers investigate, no one is there. These episodes are said to only occur in the north side of the building, where Strickland and Morgan are supposedly resting in peace. Fayetteville, Lincoln County Hospital. Originally constructed in the 1930s, Lincoln County Hospital played a major role in the Fayetteville community until it closed in the late 1990s. Lincoln County Hospital is the site of many strange happenings, including strange noises, passing shadows, the feeling of being watched, and unusual sensations on the skin. Even when the hospital was closed, people still reported seeing shapes, or even people moving around in the windows of the supposedly abandoned hospital. Our group investigated here a few years ago. It's definitely worth checking out. Chattanooga, the Delta Queen. Now permanently anchored in Chattanooga, the Delta Queen is said to be haunted by Mary Becker Green, also known as Ma, who was the first licensed female riverboat captain in Tennessee. At 79, she died in her cabin on the boat. She is usually said to be fairly easygoing. She is typically seen walking around the boat, but it is said that she caused a fair amount of havoc when a bar was opened on the boat. Wartrace, the Walking Horse Hotel. The Walking Horse is a hotel on the National Register of Historic Places. At the end of the Civil War, on the spot the hotel stands today, Union soldiers released several Confederate prisoners, many of which were very sick and malnourished. Many of them died where the hotel stands today. On top of this, a homeless man was allowed to take up residence in the hotel by the owner. He died in one of the rooms, and is said to be one of the many ghosts that haunt this site today. Smyrna, Sam Davis home. Sam Davis was a Confederate spy and soldier. He was executed by Union forces in Pulaski, Tennessee during the American Civil War. His former home, the Sam Davis home, was built around 1810. Apparitions of a young man, believed to be Sam Davis's brother Oscar, and sounds have been heard, along with the manifestations of other members of the Davis family. Old South Pittsburg Hospital. The Old South Pittsburg Hospital was built in 1959 and is located in South Pittsburg, Tennessee. The hospital is well known for being one of the most haunted locations in Tennessee, if not the entire South. Early in the 1920s, there was a tragic fire on a plantation that once stood on the property. During the fire, 7 children lost their lives. Employees that worked at the hospital when it was operational tell stories of many unusual events that occurred during their shifts. It wasn't uncommon at all for them to observe various inanimate objects, such as medical charts, hospital beds, wheelchairs, and other items, seemingly move on their own. Individuals on overnight ghost hunting adventures have also observed this phenomenon. The hospital was built on solid limestone rock, and there is a natural spring running directly under the hospital. Many people believe geological markers such as these may have something to do with the spirit's energy being able to manifest itself. I grew up in a haunted house, which is where my interest in the paranormal originated. I've also spent countless hours late at night with only a couple other people in what are reportedly some of the most haunted places in Tennessee. But Old South Pittsburg Hospital is the only place I've ever witnessed anything.
Oh, I'm not shitting you, something just ran by.
It was a black mass that shot past a doorway I was looking out. The sighting only lasted for a second, but I will remember it forever. Thanks for watching. Please be sure to like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. Also be sure to click the bell so you're notified when we upload another video. You should also check out parafiles.net where you can find the always great Smoke and Mirrors podcast. Take care and remember, there's no reason to be normal when you can be paranormal.